Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Love Fruit podcast. And we have another fantastic guest today, Eric Viard. And Eric graduated in agronomy and was formerly employed in the organic sector for 10 years. He was convinced of the benefits, the obvious benefits of living food and the effects that it was having on his health and well-being. And this gave him a desire to bring this way of life to more people and share it with others. And he founded the company Biovie, which since has had great success, has over 75,000 customers, is recognized as the leading company for living food products in France. And they also say they've sold over about 1 million fresh coconuts. Very amazing success. And Eric joins us today from France, and he has let me know that English is not his first language, but hopefully that we will understand each other and get your message out a little bit to our audience, Eric. So thank you very much for joining us today.
With pleasure.
So is there anything else you'd like to say about yourself to start off?
Well, what I can say is well, many people join the raw food movement after having met some health issues, mental health issues, or physical health issues, or injuries, or well, some kind of heavy issues. In my case, it did not happen like this. It was more journey from getting slowly from being vegetarian when in my early 20s. To vegan and to raw vegan, and so this was like a quiet journey. For example, my wife, she turned from classical eating to living foods overnight. It's completely different path, but I did not. For me, it was really a slow and long journey. It did not happen all of a sudden.
Sure. And what do you think? Well, let's start off. What was your upbringing like? What was your lifestyle like as a child, as a teenager, and so on? Were you brought up on a conventional diet?
Yeah, listen, my father was a baker. He was Meilleur Ouvrier de France. He was a famous baker in France, recognized baker. He was writing books and traveling also. And my mother was Dutch. So I was raised in Holland and in France. And well, you know, national sports in Holland is drinking milk. Because everywhere you pop out, you face out a window, you can see cows everywhere. So when you are in Holland, I was used to have milk morning, midday, and evening on the table, on the family table. And in Holland, you buy yogurts by liters. It's not by small quantities. It's completely another. Well, I don't know. It's really national sports. And my father was a baker, so he was always taking back home in the evening. He was at the beginning. He was a teacher in bakery, and after he has his own bakery. So I was used during all my childhood to taste all kind of pastries, breads. He was making 25 kind of different breads in France in his bakery. So mainly my staple food was dairy products and gluten products. So this was really the way I was raised. And for me, when I was a child and a teenager, it was like common to have flus and to be ill and to have to be sick at least 2 or 3 times in the winter. It was, well, when I was not sick in the winter, I was like, okay, what is going on? So my parents did not have a big, they did not eat organic, or, well, I had no background that triggered interest in this kind of diet at all.
Sure.
And it was more when I came to when I became a teenager, I started to make my own choices. And I had a feeling of being fed up of all the dairy products. It was like no more. I think it was like, I think I even cut off dairy products before cutting completely meat and fish. So that's more or less what happened. And when I was 20, one time in Greece, on a camp ground, I met a Swiss girl who told me I'm vegan, vegetarian since I was born. And for me, it was a shock because everybody has been telling me it's dangerous or it's tricky or it's you put yourself in danger to be vegetarian because you are going to face health issues and you are going to lack iron or calcium or whatever. And I just met that lady and she was brilliant. So it was really it made a shift in my mind. Okay, it's possible to be vegetarian on the long term. So I made the decision at that time, and it was the beginning of the journey. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. And did you growing up have any particular health problems?
No, I wouldn't qualify health problems. I mean, it was more discomforts. Well, I had a lot of spots on my face when I was a teenager. I had greasy hair. I had headaches once or twice a week. I had colds, flus, you know, that kind of, well, yeah, I don't know, it's not really health issues, but it's like more in the, it's uncomfortable. It's something you grow up with and you think it's normal. And when all these conditions leave your life, then you understand what real health is. It's something we are so much used to have it, so we don't think it's something that can be improved, or it's quite rare. My wife also, when she got to raw food, many things changed, but for her, these were some issues she was getting used to. So, but I had no severe issue or problem, no.
Yeah. So what was the first step towards changing to a healthier diet and lifestyle? Was it the diet that changed first? Was it exercise? Was it meditation? What was the first thing you did to move towards a healthier life?
Well, it was all mixed up because at that time I also had the opportunity to meet the Dalai Lama when I was 20 because I was member of a human rights defense organization in France. And I got some money from the government to make an interview of Tibetan refugees and the Dalai Lama also very early. So this changed also my mind to see that when you are 20, you can meet a president of a country. And so I started to also at that time to explore Buddhism. And well, it was all a bit mixed also with my diet change, and also I have been very strong in New Age movements at that time. And I wanted to be, you know, in France we have Médecins Sans Frontières, it's Doctors with No Borders, you know. So I started some medical studies during 2 years, but I had not the level to go forward. And so I changed and I did the same, I mean, but in agronomy. So I made some studies in tropical agronomy. So it opened my mind a lot, and I travel a lot. And I went at that time when I met Dalai Lama, and 2 years after, I went 2 times to India, and I see a whole population was growing well with no meat, no fish, and well, they have some dairy products in India, but so we started like this, a spiritual journey and a new diet journey at the same time. It was really mixed up. And I became parent quite early. We are taking care of 6 kids. And I had my first daughter, who is now a midwife, when I was 24. And it also makes a big change when you have a kid. You are thinking, well, what am I going to feed to my kids now? So when I had a kid, it was really I started to be 100% on organic foods, And during all my study, all my agronomy study, I only worked in organic farms and organic organization in India, in Ecuador, in New Caledonia. So that's yeah, it started from far away, I would say.
Yeah, and it mentions in your information that you studied tropical agronomy.
Yeah.
And what is that, and what were the studies and so on?
Well, it's you have two schools like this in France. You know, we had many people going away from Europe and going to Africa 1 or 2 centuries ago but it was more connected with religion and everything. So there was a school that is now maybe 130 years old that was training these kind of persons leaving Europe to go to Africa, to Asia, to South America. And slowly but gently it became something more professional. So now this school is called ISTOM, and they have all students in 70 countries. And so this was more designed to go in other countries. And what I mainly did in the jobs I had there is I did not bring anything from Europe. I organized, how can I explain that? I organized gatherings with elderly people and younger people to ease the ancient wisdom to go to the new generations. We don't have anything to bring them or to teach them in these countries. They have their own wisdoms. But somehow what is happening is the wisdoms are being lost by the generations because the connection between the elderly people and the newer generation is not so strong. So that was my thinking of setting up gatherings or meetings or demonstrations or workshops with elderly people and with younger people. So that's what I did in these countries at that time. And after I had, well, I was a father and I had to come back to France because my first wife, she was a doctor at that time and she had to finish her study.
Yeah, yeah. And was it around about this time that you started going towards veganism?
Yeah, I was already more or less in veganism at that time. I quite very quickly cut off all when I turn on without meat and fish. I just cut off dairy products very quickly because I was even more fed up with dairy products than meat and fish. But I was nearly vegan from the beginning. But I was the bad vegan one. I mean the bad. At that time, there were very few informations available. Maybe in English there were some, but in French it was like dessert. And I was doing traditional mixing rice and chickpeas or lentils, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
The classical vegan way. So I had some health improvements in my condition, more energy, but I still was coping with headaches and well, some discomforts and well, these kind of things. But yeah, it lasted like this for a few years. And one day, a friend of mine told me, okay, listen, I was living in Burgundy at that time, I remember. And one day I had an old friend of mine who was owning an organic shop in Normandy. And he told me, listen, he was far away. It was in Rouen. You know, Rouen is, and he was going to Geneva to listen to Brian Clement from Hippocrates Health Institute. He was going for a lecture or for a workshop for 2 days.
Yeah.
And I was impressed. This guy was traveling 1,800 kilometers just to go to a lecture.
Yeah.
So on the way on my home, he slept at my house, and he made me my very first raw vegan meal. and I was completely impressed. And then he gave me some informations about what was going on in Florida. And well, it was the beginning. I started listening to all the audios, all conferences from Brian Clement, and then what happened? I asked my friend when he came back. I was really willing to do something with Brian Clement, and I told him, well, do you think it will be possible to organize a workshop in France with Brian Clement or something? At that time, I was working in an organic farmers company. And it was very funny because he told me it's impossible. This guy is completely overbooked. He's all half of a year in planes, and he wouldn't come to a non-English speaking country, or, well, and he told me it was merely, he already tried and he thought it was impossible. But by one time, at one time, I just called at the institute. I remember it was Monday afternoon, and somebody picked the phone up there, and I could speak to Brian Clement's personal assistant. And she told me, okay, listen, we have a gap between Barcelona and London in 2 months, something like this. But it's a gap in the week, so it's only between Monday and Thursday.
Yeah.
And I told her, okay, let's see if I can organize something. And later on, what I knew, but when I met Brian, he told me, listen, what happened? In fact, you phoned the institute the day I had my new assistant. So the old one quit the Friday. I spoke with her on Monday, and she was thinking I was a normal, organizer of events with him, because she didn't knew anyone. So it was a funny chance, we could say, and so I could organize my first living food event in 2005, and then Brian Clement told me, listen. If you want to widespread the living food movement in France, I give you the rights of the first living food books that was published in France. It was Living Food for Optimal Health.
Yep.
And so all the story started at that moment. I started the business, and I started the living food business at that time. So that's more or less the beginning of a story of a movement in France. But it was really desert in France around this. We were maybe 3-4 people working in the living food movement in 2005.
Yeah, so just we'll get back to that. One quick thing is, it says also in your information you worked for 10 years in the organic sector. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what was that you were doing?
You know, in France, you have you have mainstream organic farmer. You have mainstream farmers, and they have a lot of there is a lot of things to be done for them. They get a lot of trainings. They got a lot of subsidies. They got a lot of help to put their products on the market. They are really supported by the community and socially helped and everything. And then you have the farmers who choose the organic way. And so they have to step out all this system, and they are a bit lost because the markets are different, the codes are different, the labeling is different, they have less support, they have no training. And so I was working in France. It was an association. It was like a non-profit association, and we were training farmers to switch to organic. So on one side, it was technical, because we were training them how to quit the chemicals and how can they do that efficiently. And on the other side, they had to get into new markets they were not used to. And they had to have some support also for training and for meeting the new persons in organic farming. So I was working with maybe 10 other agronomists, and we were in charge of 4 departments in France. It's the 4 departments of Burgundy. Yeah, so that was what we were doing at that time.
Awesome, awesome. So you mentioned that when you started off with this book, so I think that the first thing that you really did was with the company was that you wanted to publish this book.
Yeah,
and I believe that that to fund that book, you was it the wheatgrass or sprouting?
yeah, it has a connection. I had absolutely zero money. I had 3 kids in charge. I was earning 800 euros per month because I was only working half time and doing homeschooling half time. And at that time, you know, I had another chance, another opportunity that I did not, I just noticed after, like the story with the assistant of Brian Clement. I had absolutely no money, really nothing. And I needed 25,000 euros to print the book. And at that time, I had been always sprouting during all my teenager, young adult, and sprouting has been something that was always in my kitchen, because I had at one moment I had just a bedroom in a house of a family when I was a student, and I had no kitchen. So to have some fresh products, I had the sprouter then.
Oh wow.
So back then I bought a sprouter in Australia, because an automatic sprouter, the Easy Green sprouter in Australia. And then I couldn't find this device in Europe, so I called the owner of a company in US, and I told him, okay, I would be interested well, I had to make some money, you know, and quite quickly to be able to print that book out. So I had this in mind, and I was thinking, how can I make money quickly? So I found this man, and I told him, okay, I would like to brand your sprouter and to import your sprouter in Europe and to start selling it in Europe. And he told me, okay, but you have to buy 1 full container to start. So 1 full container was the same story. It was between 20 and 25,000 euros at that time. And what happened at that time, it was in 2006 or 6-7. And it was at the time when the dollar was super low compared to euro. So the prices he gave me just dropped because of the currency exchange difference. And we got to a point where 1 euro was $1.60. So very fortunately, I could buy 1 container of sprouter. I started selling it in France, and it sold very quickly because there was no automatic sprouter on the market at that time. And within, well, I forgot to tell you, to buy the sprouter, I asked my father to rent me 20,000 euros, and I told him, I think I can give it back to you in 6 months. So I bought the container, and just very week I bought the container, the euro was at its peak ever. It was 160. It was amazing. So I didn't pay the container very much because of the currency change. And then I could make it. I mean, I could sell 1 container, buy another one, and 7 months after, I could give back to my father the 20,000 euros. And then I could set aside the money to start the company and to print out the book of. But Brian Clement gave me the rights for free for encouraging me doing something in the raw food movement in France.
And how did you find the customers for the sprouter?
It's crazy because I have absolutely no commercial skills. I'm just very passionate about what I do. So even when I made the event with Brian Clement, I hired a pony club where my daughter was in for having the show there. And then I had really no basement, and what I did, I just wrote some articles about living foods, and I called and I contacted some magazines, and I asked them, like a trade, can you publish my article about living foods, which is quite new in France, and just mention at the end of the article that we are selling sprouters. And that's how it's all started. But what I forgot to tell you, I had also a website called EcoBioInfo that I started in 1999. That was about alternative living. So, but this was only, I was doing it for, there was no money involved. It was just, you know, it was the first blog. It was not even a blog. It was called forums at that time.
Yeah.
22 years or 3 years ago. And so I had some community already at that time. It was before Facebook, before all the social media, before YouTube and everything. But on the forum, yes, there were, I don't know how many members, but it was like this at these times. I had like a community of members. So it helped me also to start the business at that time.
Great, excellent. And at that point, did you start to, after you'd been with Brian Clement, did you change your diet to a more living foods diet? And what did that
I
look
was already, yeah, of course. I started just when this friend came by. I ordered books in English, and I read books in English, and I was 18 months is 100%. I just wanted to go 100% for a long time to see how it was going. And well, it was a bit hard with 3 young kids, but I kept it. I was really super strict at that time. And yes, from that time, it was in 2004, 2005 and 2006. Yes, I think it was in 2006 that I was really doing 2005 and 6. I was doing 18 months at 100%. And it did not change a lot through the years. And one thing I was eating really for a long time were algae. We have a chance in France to have a very brilliant natural area in Brittany where they can harvest fresh seaweeds. And at that time, I was ordering bulk by 15 kilos, and it was lasting me 8-9 months in the fridge. So I was making what we call tartare d'algues. So it's like a paste with pickles and fresh seaweed. So this is one, or sprouts, algae, and fermented foods. It's something really I'm nearly on a daily basis in my diet for more than 20 years now.
Excellent. So the company with Biovie, it started off with the sprouters and and how did it develop from there, and where has it got to now? I suppose, if you want to tell us a story about it.
Yeah. So at that time, during 7 years, I did only the wholesaling of a sprouter. So I had some businesses I was selling to the sprouter in France and in some neighboring countries. And then in 2011, there was a crisis in Germany about sprouts. I don't know if you remember that breakout of E. coli contamination. Sure. What happened is, well, the truth was, it was not an issue with sprouts. It was near the sprouting business. There was a place with cows being, well, I don't remember exactly if it was for milk or for meat. And the water being given to the seeds was contaminated by this farm just near. And when, at that time, I nearly had to close the business. from one day to another, nobody wanted to hear about sprouts anymore. So this was, yes, I understood then I had to diversify, but the first thing I had to do to survive this crisis was to ask the exclusivity to the manufacturer on all Europe. And I started selling in Russia, in Ukraine, in Poland, in many Eastern countries, which were not so much affected by the German crisis because they were far. And yeah, I did the sprouting, well, the easy green business I was only selling the easy green for 7 years. And then I had a divorce, and because I had this, I had to store the container near my house in a small warehouse. And when I divorced, I had to sell the house and also to sell the warehouse. And so I had no more opportunity to store the devices. And so I started working with, well, in UK, it's quite common, but in France, it's not. I started working with a logistic company at that time. So it was, yes, 8 years ago. And 2008, well, 2012, I think. And well, 6 years ago, I started to add some, because I had the logistic company, I had no more to care about making parcels and shipping them by myself. And I had no more need to empty the containers myself at 5 o'clock in the morning. And so I started putting more products online. So I started with spirulina, chlorella. After we started the full range of seeds with a company in Italy. And then I started with all the range of seaweeds. But I was still alone. And then I remarried. And my wife was interested to join in the business. So during some years, we were only two of us working. And slowly by slowly, we added more products, and we started traveling to meet all the businesses we were working with. And well, now we have around 150, between 150 and 200 products online, and we have 12 people working with us. So yeah, that's the progression more or less.
Excellent, excellent. And it seems like you say that you're one of the biggest living products, living foods companies in France. Is that right?
The fact is, there are no really living foods company in France. I can say easily I'm the biggest because I'm nearly the only one. I mean, it's easy, you know.
You know, it used to be. I used to have this joke that I would go to these raw vegan events around Europe and around the world, and I never met anyone from France. And I would always say, "There's no one from France that's doing a raw vegan diet," you know. So I was always interested. What is happening or what is like the French raw food movement, or is there such a thing, or?
Now, you know, I was just in London last weekend to a vegan trade show. It was like I took a trip in the future because things are going so slowly in France. It's crazy, you know, the weight of the culinary traditions in France is overwhelming. It blocks everything down. It's crazy. In UK, you are so open, your changes go fast. We were in Brighton. It was crazy. In Brighton, there are more vegan restaurants than classical ones. Not to be it's impossible in France. Completely impossible. All the culture, all the so-called culinary tradition or gourmet tradition in France, and all the blockage we have with foreign languages, all this is cutting us from other movements and from other influences. So I'm like a UFO guy in my business. You know, when I started to put my business in logistics, there were only 3% of businesses having the logistic company. In UK, it was more than the half.
Wow.
We are very near, but the mentalities are completely different. So because I'm from a Dutch background, and I was used to live in Holland and to travel between Holland and France during my childhood, I saw the difference in a more open culture like Holland or UK, where you have the influences coming from US that penetrates or emerging from UK, because UK is also giving birth to many movements. But France is like in a shell, you know, it's protected from everything. It has a strong culture in many things, but also it's like non-permeable to other ideas, and
That's really
it's tricky.
interesting. It's really interesting what you're saying, because I'm realizing that obviously the English language means that a lot of US influences can immediately come to the UK very easily, and probably back and forth there. And but it seems like what you're saying is France is very sort of resistant to other outside influences, maybe.
Exactly.
So, but are there any French? I mean, I think I have heard of some pioneers in France of either natural hygiene, fasting. I'm sure there have been some. Is there any you're aware of in terms of, is it a separate sort of history there?
Yeah, more in the, you will find more easily persons being involved in naturopathy. We are the editors of Irène Grosjean. Maybe you don't know her. She's a 93-year-old lady who is still doing parachute, trampoline, and all kind of crazy things, and giving lectures everywhere, and traveling and going on planes. And she is on war food for mostly, I think, 40 to 50 years now.
Yeah.
So there are that kind of persons, yes, you have, but I mean, real businesses working only with living foods, I think we are the only ones. Some businesses, of course, are doing it as a side business, but this kind of business like we are doing, it's the only one.
Very cool. I suppose it's good to know that you're trying to get it out there. How are you finding it, trying to get this message out to other people? Do you find that how are you reaching an audience, I suppose, in France?
We rely more on organic audience, I would say. We very recently we had the chance. We have Miss France, Linda Hardy. She's a famous Miss France. She's now she's 49, but she's studying naturopathy. So we met her last month, and we are starting to work with some famous people. But it's more from word to mouth, and I think we exploded during COVID because people were sitting at home and questioning health and their attitude with health. And what we did during COVID, when COVID started, just 2 weeks after we started releasing. Well, my wife released one time a course for a living food course to learn about some new recipes, and it was like heavy to put up. We had to, because we have so many kids, it's hard to have the house clean and to have time quiet and to have the ingredients and to have everything ready. So she brought up an idea. She told me, okay, listen, we will be doing some living foods in front of a camera during 2 to 3 hours. We will do between 15 and 20 recipes, and we will sell it €9 or €10. So with COVID, we started this, and we did every month between March and I think July or August. We did one topic. So one was for living food with kids, one other was for including algae in your diet, one other was dehydrating, another one was making desserts, another one was living food around the world recipes. So yes, this made a change, I think, because in 2021 we reached 2 billion sales. So it was COVID and the lockdown for us. It was crazy. We had to hire new people very quickly, and well, it was like, yes, it gave us a push at that time.
You said 2 million in sales,
Yes.
and was that like over the course of time or during lockdown, or?
No, per year.
All right, per year.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you were reaching a lot of people then.
Sorry?
You're reaching a lot of people then.
Yeah, we have been reaching many people, and what we do, what is specific to our business, is that we travel a lot and we always meet. I'm personally guarant of the quality of the products we import. Right. And I always go when I can. During lockdown, we could not, but for example, we are selling blue-green algae from Klamath Lake. And I wanted to see what is the harvest of Klamath algae. So we went to America and we went there at the harvesting season. And well, I saw everything, and we are selling coconuts. So we go to Thailand, we go with the people who pluck the coconuts, and we see how they are cut. And for me, you know, I'm very good in, I'm not such a good man in marketing and branding, but I'm very interested in the sourcing, the quality sourcing. So what happens is when, well, we get samples being sent to us every week, but what our customers know, they know we rely a lot, they can rely on us for quality. They know we are really looking inside the quality. For example, we have also seawater from Ibiza, but it's a small family who is working in Ibiza, and they are working on the quality of the water. They are making their own tests on their side. They are going with a boat in an area where there's a lot of plankton. You know, they are really doing quality, and we mainly work with small businesses who give their heart in the quality. So that's why when we get a customer, they understand this, and they know when we put something on the market, they can rely on the quality. That's the main thing. And the other thing is we succeed to have good prices, because we sell directly from container to end customer. No, we have no reseller, no distributor. So mainly for all our products, like we did with the freeze-dried fruits we import from Thailand directly, we sell directly from importing directly to the end customer. So they have good prices. And the last thing we do, we always try to have as much bulk as possible. For example, we are selling seeds for sprouting by bags of 5 kilos. So 3 families can gather by one bag and share it in 3 families. So it comes down to a very, very economical price.
Yeah. Oh, great. And let me ask you a bit more about the way that you do a Living Foods diet. So what would it look like for a typical day if you were eating a Living Foods diet? What would that look like to you?
Yeah, mainly I start my day. Now we met Victoria's Kublinkas in Costa Rica, so he gave us a kind of plan with enzymes. So for the first time of my life, I'm having enzymes before having meal, just to try out what it gives to have well, supplement in enzymes. But except that, I have in the morning a smoothie with banana, spirulina, and some berries inside. So main of the part of the year, I have frozen berries. And I'm having this in the morning with a herbal tea. And often in lunch, we have a big salad, and I have nearly every time for lunch and dinner, we have avocados with tartare d'algues. And we spread it on crackers we make alone at home. And the tartare d'algues, we make it also at home. And now we sell it, but at the beginning, we sold only the algae. So we have a big salad. And in the evening, it's usually nowadays it's we have a raw blended soup made with mild water, mild temperature water, and often I make I'm really fond of 100% frozen banana ice cream. This is one of my favorite.
Absolutely.
So this is, yes, we do the banana, and when you melt a little bit coconut oil over the frozen banana, and with some raw cacao nibbles, then it's a nice dinner. But we try to have a light dinner. Sometimes we skip dinner also to have a better night. And I would say when I skip dinner and I have just only some fruits at 5, then I sleep better. But the fact is, we are with kids, and the kids come back from school at late in France. In France, it's the system. They can have mathematics between 4 and 5 p.m. Yeah. So they get back at 7, and if we skip the meal, then we have no time with the kids. Right. So that's why we have a meal at 7. We eat later than you in UK.
Yeah, but what something interesting I saw on your website, there's a video where you're both taking your clothes off. Is that about sunshine on the body? Is that nudity? What's the message there?
No, the message is that we are not taking ourselves seriously, and right. But now there was a message. The message was we are transparent on everything we do.
Right.
We don't hide. We are 100% transparent. Last week we shipped 2 tons of avocados who were being left 1 year on the trees by a farmer we are working with in Spain. And we had a big amount of avocados who were spoiled. So what we do, we just send an email to our customers and we say, okay, if you have 2 avocados out of 6 spoiled, just tell us, we will refund you. I'm trying to be authentic and to be transparent, and also to let know when we have issues or delays or whatever happens. And I'm presenting everybody who is working with us has a small place on the website to say what's their life, what do they like, all their partners, all our employees, all our partners have I want it to be as much horizontal as possible. And I think it's a place of the owner of the business to step backwards, and I don't want to be in front of the scene, but just to have a business going, and to give the impulse and to give the values, the values I have to spread them between my employees and also the partners we are working with. And one thing is also important for us. We are trying to host small businesses who don't have the money to expand. And for example, there was one business who 1 year ago nearly closed. They were selling wraps. There were crazy wraps with activated seeds, but they were getting tired of trying to penetrate the big markets, and they were about to close the business. And when they brought some samples, we made them at home, and I was feeling so sorry. They had such a high quality product, and it did not resonate in the big names out there in the organic shops brands in France. which are very concentrated. So I told them, okay, listen, forget about selling, just concentrate on producing, and we will buy everything that is coming out your place. And we pay in advance, so they can, you know, they are not threatened about money issues. We did the same with the coconuts. During 1 year, we were buying a harvest 3 months before they harvested, so they have enough cash flow to start the whole thing. So we start to do it also, and that's why we were naked. We are transparent, and we try to.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we try to speak about all our partners, and I don't want to be the man in the middle, you know. I just well, but we have, it's not everything is not right, and we have also issues, and we have also, yes, transport issues with the COVID and with prices going up, and you know, like every business. But we put the human in the center, because
very cool.
By the end, it's what you remember. It's human relationships that you make through business, and when giving you confidence. And all the people we are working, all our employees are not employees. In fact, they are all self-owned. But we are working from. I'm just with my wife here. There is nobody else. All the other ones, I have one with it in Morocco. One is now in Spain. The other one is in Portugal. One is in Paris. I have, and we meet sometimes, but I'm just confident they do their best, and I give them my confidence in also, and they are happy in the business.
That's great. So I believe that you sell mostly to France, Belgium, Switzerland. Is that the only countries that you?
These are the main countries. Yeah, we are now in 2020 we bought back the Easy Green company. So we are now manufacturing the Easy Green sprouter, and we are about to release automatic sprouter, which is working without energy, just relying on gravity. So we are working on it, and we are trying to get our molds back from Asia to Europe. But yes, mainly, except you have some in US for the Easy Green, and for the Easy Green we have we are selling to many places. But for the let's say for the food, yes, it's mainly in the French. Well, our website is in English too, but I think I have 90% of French customers, more or less.
Yeah, so it's biovie.fr.
Yes.
I want to find the website, Biovie. We'll put the links down below. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. What are your plans for the future, Eric? What are you hoping to achieve and do? And
so for this year, we have 2 plans. The first one is to release this automatic sprouter and working without energy, to release in recycled plastic and in plant-based plastic. So that's why I'm getting the molds back from Asia, because they are not able to deal with it in Asia. They don't know what recycled plastic is. And in Europe, they are more in the move about this. So this is the first project. And when this project will be self-sustainable, when we will have paid the molds back with sales, I would like to have some humanitarian projects to offer some sprouters in Africa, for example, because it works without energy. So this is one of our main projects. The other one is, I guess you know, the Living Light Culinary Institute, which was north of San Francisco, what was Viard? Well, anyway, a bit north in San Francisco. This school has been running for I think, I don't know, maybe 2 decades, and by Cherry Soya, who was the mother of the world food recipes. And we will be very happy to be able to open such a school, such a twin school of this one in Europe, because for me, the way now to influence the market Well, some people would like to have a raw food restaurant out to go there. I have another opinion. I think it's more penetrating than having raw food restaurants to have classical chefs being trained to add in their course just maybe 1 or 2 raw food course.
Wow.
So you can go with your friends, somebody can have some fish, and you can have your raw food, I don't know, your raw pizza or your raw spaghetti or whatever. And I think it would penetrate the market quicker to go that way. So the idea would be to open a chef school in Europe. So
Cool.
we are busy with that project at the moment. And yes, it's a long project anyway, but we will this will be the future project. It's open a chef school. And well, if anyone listening is interested into that in any point to giving courses or to join in, then they can contact us, because yes, I would like to have it in both French and English.
That's amazing. Sounds like a great idea. So, Eric, how could people maybe contact you if they want to get in touch with you about any of these things, or do you have any social media channels they can follow you on?
Yeah, we have everything. We have, well, even social media, I don't know nothing about, because, but we are on Instagram, on Facebook. On Instagram, it's mainly, yes, Biovie officiel. And on Facebook also, Eric and Aurélie Biovie, I think something. I give you the links after.
Sure.
We are on, well, we are on all social, we are on Pinterest also, and also on TikTok. And we have a blog where we release, but this is mainly in French, 2 to 3 articles every week. And we have a newsletter that is being read by, well, we send it to 40,000 people every week, and it's read by 20,000 that open.
That's amazing.
So this is nice. But you can send me an email to Eric with a C at biovie.fr. Then it gets directly to me.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Eric, for giving us some time today. It's been a really interesting story. And I encourage everyone to go and check out the website and get in touch with Eric and everything, if any of that is makes sense to you. And I want to thank everyone for watching and listening. Please feel free to share, to like, to comment, to pass this on to others. And we will see you in the next episode of the Love Fruit Podcast. Thank you very much, everyone.